Meghan Markle is absolutely fuming. This time, it's not a streaming flop or podcast failure. There's a documentary that exposes her dying marriage with Harry, filmed in complete secrecy. She tried to ban it. The production company said no. And what they've uncovered might be the final blow to her carefully crafted image. The cracks are showing, and they're bigger than anyone imagined. For months, an independent documentary crew has been quietly conducting interviews. Former associates, royal reporters, people who've witnessed things firsthand. They've been careful, discreet. Nobody knew this was happening. Not Meghan, not Harry. The project stayed completely under wraps while they gathered testimony after testimony. Stories that paint a very different picture from the one Meghan wants the world to see. Then came the interview that changed everything. A royal reporter sat down with the documentary team. Shortly after that conversation, Meghan found out somehow word got back to her, and she lost it. Legal letters arrived at the production company demanding they halt filming immediately. She wanted to know what the documentary was about. She wanted control. She wanted it stopped. The response she got wasn't what she expected. They essentially told her, no, this documentary is happening whether she likes it or not. That tells you everything about how worried she is. If there was nothing to hide, why the panic? Why the lawyers? Why the desperate attempt to shut down a film she hasn't even seen? But let's rewind a bit, because before this documentary drama exploded, there was a red carpet moment that set all of this in motion. A public appearance that was supposed to silence the divorce rumors once and for all. Harry and Meghan attended an event for Project Healthy Minds. This was their chance, their moment to show the world that everything's fine, that they're still madly in love, that the marriage is solid. Harry couldn't even look at her. Body language experts had a field day with this one. The footage is brutal. He's stiff, uncomfortable, avoiding eye contact like his life depends on it. For someone who's supposed to be head over heels for his wife, he looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. This wasn't nervousness. This was a man who couldn't fake affection even for 30 seconds on a red carpet, even when cameras are rolling, even when the entire world is watching. If you can't pretend to be in love during the one moment designed specifically for that, what does that tell you? The performance failed, and everyone noticed. The fallout was immediate. Meghan knew they'd messed up, so she did what she always does: damage control. Social media became her weapon of choice. She started posting videos, compilation clips, trying desperately to paint a picture of happiness. Look at us eating pizza. Look at us laughing. Look how in love we are. But here's where it gets interesting. One of those clips featured Ed Sheeran. Meghan posted a video that made it look like they'd all hung out together, like they were friends. The media ran with it. Headlines everywhere. Meghan and Harry on romantic double date with Ed Sheeran. Except there was one problem. It wasn't true. The video was shot from behind. Ed had no idea he was being filmed. He was in a doorway. You can see hanging clothes in the background because they're in the loading dock area. She allegedly caught him off guard as he was leaving, got a quick moment on camera without his knowledge, then spun it into something it wasn't. Sound familiar? This is the Cameron Diaz and Gwyneth Paltrow situation all over again. Meghan tried to make it seem like she was dining with A-list celebrities at some pizza place in Montecito. Gwyneth later said she'd never really met her, but the headlines screamed about their cozy dinner together. That's how desperate things have gotten. But the red carpet wasn't the only red flag. That same weekend in New York told a completely different story about the state of this marriage. Saturday night, Harry was spotted going to dinner alone. Well, not completely alone. He was with friends, and according to some sources, one of them was a woman. He looked relaxed, happy even, like the weight of the world had been lifted off his shoulders. That same Saturday night, Meghan was also out, but not with Harry. She was dining with Serena Williams' agent. Now, pause for a second. Think about that. It's Saturday night in New York City. You're married. Why aren't you having dinner together? Why are you both out separately with other people? If the marriage is solid, if you're this united front you claim to be, wouldn't you be together? Then comes Sunday. They leave through the loading dock. Why the loading dock? Because that's where the photographers were tipped off to be. This wasn't a candid moment. This sounds staged. When Harry left a restaurant on his own earlier, bodyguards surrounded him, made it nearly impossible to get a clear shot. Suddenly, the security is nowhere to be seen. Wide open for photos. Easy access. They needed that photo up because the separate dinners looked bad, because the red carpet looked worse. This was an attempt to prove they're still together, still functional. But Harry's face told a different story. He looked miserable, couldn't even manage a smile. None of it makes sense unless you accept what's really happening. The marriage is falling apart. And Harry knows it. Sources close to him have started talking. Friends are confirming what everyone can already see. Harry feels deceived. He's been telling people that Meghan isn't the woman he thought she was. That realization is hitting him hard. He rushed into this, ignored every warning sign, ignored advice from family and friends who told him to slow down. He was so desperate to rebel against his family, so caught up in the whirlwind romance, so ready to burn bridges that he didn't stop to actually know who he was marrying. Now he's living with the consequences, and those consequences are getting uglier by the day. Because the woman he married hasn't changed. Meghan has always been this version of herself. He just refused to see it, or maybe he saw it and didn't care because she validated his anger towards his family. She went along with his narrative, fed into his jealousy of William, made him feel justified in his resentment. But now reality is setting in, and reality is harsh. The fairy tale is over, the masks are coming off, and what's underneath isn't pretty. Here's where things get even more explosive. The documentary isn't just about the current state of their marriage. It's digging deeper, way deeper, into Meghan's past, into connections that could blow the royal family wide open. There are rumors, allegations, whispers about her involvement with Prince Andrew. Now, whether that's true or not, the fact that it's being investigated for this documentary is significant.
Prince Andrew's name attached to anything is toxic right now. The associations, the scandals. If there's even a thread of connection between Meghan and that situation, it becomes a royal crisis. The palace has spent years trying to distance themselves from Andrew, trying to manage that disaster. If Meghan's past includes any overlap with his circle, any questionable connections, it's not just her problem anymore. It's Harry's. It's the entire family's. That's why this documentary is so dangerous. It's not just exposing a failing marriage, it's potentially uncovering information that has far-reaching implications. Information that Meghan desperately wants to keep buried, which explains the legal threats, the panic, the frantic attempts to shut it down before it sees the light of day. But it's too late. The interviews are done, the footage is captured, and the filmmakers aren't backing down. Meanwhile, Meghan's already planning her exit strategy. Reports have surfaced that she's been reaching out to divorce attorneys, quietly, discreetly, testing the waters, trying to figure out who would take her case, who's willing to be in her corner. And from what's being said, not many people are lining up. Her circle is shrinking, fast. Celebrities want nothing to do with her. Former friends have distanced themselves. The people who might have supported her before are now reconsidering. Because being associated with Meghan comes with baggage, drama, controversy. And in Hollywood, that's career poison if you're on the wrong side of public opinion. But there's one name that keeps coming up: Marcus Anderson. He's been in Meghan's orbit for years. Close confidant, someone who knows things. And according to some sources, he might be helping her strategize, not just for the divorce, but for what comes after. There are alleged videos, recordings, things Meghan supposedly has on Harry, on the royal family, private moments, private conversations, things that could be weaponized. If those exist, Marcus might be helping her decide how to use them, when to use them, what kind of leverage they provide. It's a dangerous game because Harry shared a lot with her over the years. Royal secrets, family dynamics, vulnerabilities. And that's terrifying for Harry because he's realizing she might have been playing the long game all along, collecting information, building a case, preparing for the moment when things fell apart. He thought he was confiding in his wife. She might have been building an insurance policy. The battle lines are being drawn. Attorneys are being consulted. Strategies are being planned. This isn't going to be a quiet, amicable split. This is going to be warfare. And the documentary is going to drop right in the middle of it, exposing everything. The fake public appearances, the manufactured narrative, the cracks that turned into chasms. Harry's stuck. He can't go back to the royal family with his tail between his legs. Not after everything he's said, everything he's done. The interviews, the book, the public attacks on his own father and brother. He burned those bridges himself. Meghan handed him the matches, but he lit the fire, and now he's standing in the ashes, wondering how it all went so wrong. But here's the question nobody's really asking. Does he deserve sympathy for being fooled by Meghan? Or did he make his own choices and now has to face the consequences? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. I want to hear what you think. Team Harry or Team Nobody? And if you want to stay updated on every single twist and turn of this unfolding disaster, you need to hit that subscribe button immediately. This channel is bringing you the real story, the one the mainstream media won't tell you, the unfiltered truth about what's really happening behind palace doors and behind closed doors in Montecito. Smash that like button if this video gave you the tea you came for. Share it with your friends and turn on notifications, because when this documentary drops, you know we're going to be all over it with breakdowns, analysis, and all the details everyone else will miss. The truth is coming, and it's going to be explosive. Make sure you're here when it all goes down. I'll see you in the next one.